but they will think about it. And this is what we talk about. ਜਿਹੜੀ seeds ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨਾ, ਹੌਲੀ seeds ਪਾਉਣੀਆਂ ਪੈਂਦੀਆਂ ਬੱਚੇ ਦੇ ਦਿਮਾਗ 'ਚ, ਹੈ ਨਾ? ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ 2 ਮਹੀਨੇ, ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਸਾਲ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹਦਾ ਅਸਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ। ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜੀ conversations ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਯਾਦ ਕਰਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਕਿ ਉਹਦਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਪੈਰੈਂਟਿੰਗ ਕੋਰਸ ਤੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਗਏ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਜਗਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਆਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ, ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦਾ ਖਿਆਲ ਰੱਖੋ। Does that make sense? Because I've also been told to speak more Punjabi, so I'm going to try and speak more Punjabi as well. Anna? Waheguru? Okay, so we're going to go very fast. So empathy is a very important thing in Gurmat. I remember one of the Pajis said about empathy before. Empathy is a very important thing. Punjabi vich empathy nu ki kahida? Does anyone know? What do we call empathy in Punjabi? It's hamdardi. Hamdardi. So it means that basically, aa bacha ro reha hai, aa bache nu pata lag gaya, bacha ro reha hai, aa bacha ode help karan gaya. Enu kende empathy. Now, jado studies hunde a, koi bhi medical studies hunde, oh 5 ya 10 salan li nahi hunde. They're never 5 or 10 years. They're always 20 years. Because 20 years is seen as a good time, jehna thanu knowledge asli mil sakdi hai. Hai na? So hon pehli wari 20 saal ho gaye where you've got children that have been on internet. So Asim, I'm 50, I'm going to turn 50 this year. So I saw 25 years jado bina phone to. Hai na? And some of you same. Jado koi phone nahi hunda si, ungli naal kamaunde hunde si, dial and taar te hunda si. Hai na? And hon we've seen 25 years with mobile phones. So now you're getting the first studies come out. What is the impact of these phones on children? And these are really important. So I've summarized them here. So the first big finding, and it is studies here, they're worldwide studies. So you're talking North America, Europe, Africa, Australia. And at the bottom, मैं सारियां चीज़ां दा इत्थे लिखिया है कि केरी चीज़ दा की सोच है. So ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸਟੱਡੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਬੱਚੇ ਆ ਸੋ ਮੇਰਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਭਤੀਜਾ ਆ ਹੈਨਾ ਹੀ ਇਜ਼ ਨਾਓ ਟੋਲ as me, he just finished his masters. ਉਹਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਸਾਰੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਕੱਲੀ ਟੈਕਨੋਲੋਜੀ ਦੇਖੀ ਆ ਹੈਨਾ and ਅਸੀਂ ਦੋ ਹੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੇਖੀਆਂ ਆ ਸੋ ਉਹਦੇ ਲਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਅਸਰ ਹੋਇਆ living in this technology age. And ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡੀ ਫਾਈਂਡਿੰਗ ਇਹ ਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੱਚੇ the children growing up in this technological age have 40% less empathy than previous generations. Ke 40% cut hamdardi ya ina de vich. This is terrible for society. It's society li bahut bura hal hai. Because basically, bachche dusre nu samjhde nahi hege. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਆਹ ਬੱਚਾ ਦੁਖੀ ਆ ਇਹਦਾ ਰਿਜ਼ਲਟ ਕੀ ਹੈਗਾ that ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਦਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਚਾਂਸ ਆ ਕਿ he's going to be a bully or he's going to get bullied. As a result, schools in which the level of bullying has gone up massively. Again, bullying hundi si schools in which when we were young, but not on this level. Because now, they don't have hamadardi as much as they had before. They don't have the same levels of empathy. Waheguru? So you need to understand, as a parent, your child has more chance of being the bully or bullied. As a result, later divorce and a socially uncomfortable person. We meet so many young children who are socially uncomfortable. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਗੱਲ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਨਾ and this is terrible in terms of ਜਿੱਦਾਂ society ਗਾਂ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ. Empathy ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ important trait ਹੈ ਹੈਨਾ and ਆਪਾਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਕੰਪਲੇਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੈਰੈਂਟਸ ਆ ਕਿ ਬੱਚੇ ਕੰਪਿਊਟਰਾਂ ਤੇ ਲੱਗੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਬੱਚੇ ਫੋਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਲੱਗੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ. So let's do a test. ਹੱਥ ਕਰੇ ਕਰੋ if the last thing you do ਸੌਣ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਫੋਨ ਚੈੱਕ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਹੁਣ ਹੱਥ ਕਰੇ ਕਰੋ ਜੇ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਜਦੋਂ ਸਵੇਰ ਨੂੰ ਉੱਠਦੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਫੋਨ ਚੈੱਕ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ congratulations you're addicted ਹੈ ਨਾ so you're addicted ਤੁਸੀਂ 30-40 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਇਹ addiction ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ a 12-year-old child ਉਹਨੇ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਰ ਲੈਣੀ ਹੈ it's very difficult. Does that make sense? So we have to understand what are they doing to our children? In 2017, studies show that 50% of students prefer to text rather than talk. This is the first generation to do this. So our husband and wife ho sakda hai our table there. Maybe they're at the table, maybe they're at bed. Age ki hunda si raat nu husband and wife ने एक दूसरे नाल गल्लां करनियां, दुख सुख दी सांझ करनी एक दूसरे नाल। हुण की हो गया, एक इंस्टाग्राम पे लगाया, एक व्हाट्सएप पे लगाया, है ना, एक दूसरे नाल गल्लां नहीं करदे। So are you going to talk about solving problems in your house? Are you going to talk about ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ? What you're more interested in, what is the latest trend on TikTok? And then the key thing is teaching your children about social media. So jira social media, particularly Twitter, is very toxic. Lokan de craze khatam ho jande on Twitter with one tweet. है ना? So बच्चा हमेशा सिखाना है कि everything on social media. So if you're a public person, I'm a public person, है ना? Other people are public persons. We're known, है ना? If you're a public person and you ever do media training, pehli cheez ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਿਖਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ is never read comments. In fact, most people just switch off comments. Because ਜਿਹੜੇ comments ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, they're often the most ਡੂੰਘੇ, racist, vile, disgusting things ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਦੇ ਦਿਮਾਗ 'ਚ ਆ, ਉਹ ਲਿਖ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ. So if you're a sports star, football player, people just write things. If you're a singer, they'll just write things. And no one cares. So if I'm going to have a conversation, I have a conversation with Baji, I have to be very careful because so if I say something really racist or hurtful, I have to deal with his reaction. Does that make sense? So you think twice, because the problem is on your phone, no one cares what the reaction is. You type the most disgusting thing and then you put the phone down. And no one cares. So you've given your 13-year-old daughter a phone and all her friends are putting pictures of themselves with suits on or going out or whatever, and you've given your daughter this phone, she takes the first picture of her and there's other people on the other side. You're fat, you're ugly, you're this, you're that. And her confidence is just going to go down. Because you become other people's entertainment. And we have to understand this. So the first thing you have to teach children is that internet is not the real world. Social media is not the real world. It's actually a very toxic world. Facebook is often seen, Facebook there. Instagram is often seen, they are Instagram. Twitter is jehde lokan ne clash karna hai and political are on Twitter, and TikTok is the people that just want to basically waste time. But TikTok in China is very different to TikTok here. TikTok in China is very educational. TikTok here is designed to dumb you down. Waheguru? So they do not see the impact of their words. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਲਫ਼ਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੀ impact ਨਹੀਂ ਦੱਸਦਾ. And it's very toxic. So ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਸਿਖਾਉਣਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਇਹ real world ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ and get off it in the first place. And then the other thing is, your brain, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਫੋਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਲੱਗੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ, their brains have less experience of empathy, human interaction, body language and the ability to listen. ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਘੱਟ experience ਆ body language, ਸੁਣਨ ਦੀ ਆਦਤ ਤੇ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ interact ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ, So ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਡੈਡੀ ਇਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ, ਪਰ ਸਾਡਾ ਡੈਡੀ ਇਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ। ਉਹਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨੂੰ ਉੱਠਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, ਹੱਥ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਕਣਾ, ਪਰ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਉਹਨੇ ਅੱਖ ਇਦਾਂ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਵੱਲ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੁਣ ਚੁੱਪ ਕਰ ਜੀਏ, ਹੁਣ ਸੇਵਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਣੀ ਹੈ, ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਡੈਡੀ ਵੀ ਇਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ। So that means that you understand body language, ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਲੱਗ ਗਈ ਆ ਕਿ ਉਹਨੇ ਅੱਖ ਨਾਲ ਇਸ਼ਾਰਾ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ, ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਚੁੱਪ ਹੋ ਜਾਵਾਂ, This is important as human beings, but ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਸਮਝਣੋਂ ਹਟ ਗਏ, because they don't understand body language. And massive part of communication is body language. Waheguru? But most importantly, the ability to listen. Children do not understand the tone of voice when spoken with love. They lack conversation ability and complexity of emotion. For example, we've got a sing in Derby by Manpreet Singh from AO World Sikh Parliament's General Singh. His language skills, his vocabulary skills are so next level. And we listen to him and we think, oh, you listen to Maskeen Di Katha. You think this person's language skills are so high. And you look at now, everything's so dumbed down. That was some people when they do katha, like Maskeen, it's like a symphony, orchestra. Do you agree? And we have to understand how much dumbed down our life has become. Waheguru? So imagine, I'm going very fast here because of time. imagine ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਚਲ ਗਿਆ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਨੇੜੇ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲੀ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਦੂਰ ਮਿਲੀ ਆ. So imagine they got university in Texas, and your bacha's there, and your bacha's looking out the window and they see all Trump flags everywhere. And your bacha's thinking, oh my God, how am I going to cope here? I'm so far away from their parents. On that first night, pehli raat, do you want your child to text you or do you want them to call you? So why do you want them to call you? So Benji, louder. Yeah, so you want to hear their emotions, their voice. Benji's saying behind even FaceTime. Okay, but statistics show that 50% of children are not comfortable speaking on the phone. They're going to text you. They're going to WhatsApp you. So imagine this conversation. You phone, your daughter phones or your son phones. Oh my God, Mom, it's Trump land here. What am I going to do? It's weird here. And you say, koi na pot, ye teri life da agra hissaya, jigra rakh, maras teri naaliya, tu sab kuch theek ho jana, everything's going to be good. You see how talking to your bacha, tusi galla na jappi pa lande bache nu. Does that make sense? This is emotionally really important. Ki tusi jappi pa sakde apne words de naal. But 50% ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਫੋਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਕਣਾ. 50% ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ, Mom, miss you, LOL, emoji, emoji, emoji. And you're going to respond, miss you too, pot, emoji, emoji, emoji. This is the state of life. Then you understand why people have mental health issues. Because they're not getting any jappi from anyone. They're not getting any emotional support from anyone. Everything's so like plastic. Does that make sense? And if you don't think your bacha is like that, tell your bacha to go and make a doctor's appointment. And if they can make it on the computer, but if they have to phone someone and explain what's wrong with you, Mom, I don't know what to say. I don't know, make it explain kara, make it kara. And then you realize your child is not comfortable speaking to people. And you'll be amazed, very intelligent children, and I've come across people with masters and PhD, one of the reste karne hai, and you ask them to speak to a kuri and they don't know, oh my God, main ki kara? You don't have PhD. And then you're like, what's going on with these people? So, it's about what's happening with people. So, it starts from a young child. So, what happened is when my children were young, I remember the World Cup happened. And when the World Cup happens, TVs are saste, aren't they? And we bought these 2 Samsung TVs. And with the TVs, they gave us 2 free tablets. And I thought, thank you, Mr. Samsung. What I'm going to do, I'm going to give them to my kids. And I gave them my kids. Big mistake. Don't ever do that. Because I thought they're going to do maths, they're going to do all this other stuff. They learn how to play games. And them games are not good for them. And let me explain why. Jiri age from 0 to 10, 0 to 10, yeah. ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਦਾ ਦਿਮਾਗ learns more than at any other stage in their lives. That will be the time when the fastest rate of learning happens in your bacha. And when they play outside, they only see black and white. And then they see color. And then they pick things up. And then they put it in their mouth because or texture dekh there. Or the fragrance dekh there. The problem is, to see on a tablet, the tablet has no fragrance. A tablet has no texture. The tablet is 2D. The real world is not 2D. The real world has fragrance, has color, all of these things. And your child needs to go through that learning experience. And the other thing is, your child is then too sanitized. They should be playing with mitti. That's not a bad thing. They should be putting mitti in their mouth. Their immune system will get strong. They should be playing on grass. They should be doing all this stuff. If you leave them inside, then their immune systems are not going to grow. We're a big believer in raw milk. And if I think it's fantastic. But asi Punjabi pee sakde hain. But if you stop drinking it, then you're not going to have the same kind of health that we have in our generations. Because we're unique in India. That's why Punjabis are so strong. Because our lactose and our gut system is different from other people in India. That's why your mother is here. And so, learn about this stuff. So, when you have a child, so there's an experiment happened in a primary school. They put the children in, They had tablets on one side, एक पासे tablet रखे सीगे, दूसरे पासे खेड़ा रखियां सीगियां. सारे बच्चे आए ते उन्होंने tablet आने खेलन नापे ते एक बच्चे ने किसी दूसरे बच्चे ना गाल नहीं की. Not one child spoke to another child. And then they sent them out for break time. They picked up all the tablets, सारे tablet का चक लिया, and then they said to the बच्चे, bring them in. Not one child complained कि tablet नहीं है गया. और सारियां खेड़ा नाल खेडन नापे, and every child was talking to another child. So what is more healthy? So this is the whole thing. Your children need to be able to interact and play. And your tablets are stopping them from doing that. Okay? Waheguru? So we want them to be pioneers in a technological world and be happy and balanced. And you have to realize they have to learn to grow naturally. So this is called deep play. A बहुत important है बच्चों लिए. कई लोग फिक्र करते हैं मैं बच्चे को कोई खेल भी आंदी है and they spend more time playing with the box other than the kid. But that's actually good. Because these children think they're pirates. This bachcha's making a khanda out of a card. This girl thinks she's a doctor. This one thinks they're playing a tabla, etc. This is called deep play because they're using their imagination. ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ phone ਤੇ tablet ਦੇਤੀ ਆ, they're not using their imagination. They're using the imagination of the person ਜਿਹੜਾ phone ਤੇ program design ਕੀਤਾ. Does that make sense? Waheguru? So children that use lots of technology are less able to self-soothe, be imaginative and be patient. ਜਿਹੜਾ self-soothing ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ important ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੈ young ਬੱਚੇ ਲਈ. Because ਜਿਹੜਾ young ਬੱਚਾ ਆ ਹਨਾ ਉਹ ਖੇਡਦਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਖੇਡ ਨਾਲ ਕੋਈ ਵੱਡਾ ਬੱਚਾ they'll come and take their kid off them. That ਬੱਚਾ will realize, start crying ਕਿ any ਮੇਰੀ ਖੇਡ ਲੈ ਲਈ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ. And then that ਬੱਚਾ realize ਕਿ ਰੋਣ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, nobody cares. So they self-soothe themselves and go and find something else to play with. ਹੋਰ ਕੋਈ ਚੀਜ਼ ਲੱਭ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਖੇਡਣ ਲਈ. That's important in life because the life is not fair. Life is, the bigger children are going to do things. Get used to it, become big. So this is called self-soothing. Je thoda bacha has not gone through this because they're on the phone all too much. Then afterwards you go to the supermarket, you don't buy them a sweet, they cry more. Because they've not realized how they're going to self-regulate the way they cry. Does that make sense? Waheguru? And the same thing with computer games. Anybody here play computer games? Yes? All these children play computer games? You'll be amazed how many 40, 50-year-olds still play computer games. The worst thing you can do as a parent is to play computer games with your kids. Okay? Because the computer games are sucking the energy out of your children. So, there's a video on YouTube where they show a child playing a computer game. And oh bacha, and they've got a video camera, oh bacha di akhan te janda hai. And the child sitting there, tusi dekhiya bache ko game khelde hai. They're going like that with their thumbs, and their head doesn't move. Because ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਆ end game ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, and it could be hour or 2 hours, they're watching that TV. And then what happens is when they show that video, your akhan are going like here, 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 here. And it's really bad in terms of what's happening with your akhan. And if you look at the way sport works, imagine I'm playing basketball. That ball is coming. First what I do, I move my feet. Then I move my waist. Then I move my shoulders. Then I'm moving my hands. Every part of my body moves to catch that ball. But my eyes move the least. Does that make sense? Many akhan moves the least. And what happens is people are getting their hand-eye coordination is going in people because they're playing so many computer games and their eyes are getting so strained. So what you're getting now, people in healthcare, oh khana khan napaya and chamcha chokdaya, they miss their mouth. And sometimes what happens is you want to grow old and you want to play with your grandkids, they throw a ball to you, you can't catch that ball because your hand-eye coordination is gone from being strained so much playing these computer games. And all you children need to realize this. Real sports is what you should be doing. You should be playing FIFA on thingy. Go and actually play real football outside. It'll be healthier for you. It's better for you. Okay? So my son, when I wrote this lecture, he heard it. When I done this lecture, he heard this. And I thought, yeah, see, delayed reaction on that. Oh, gamer killed him. Jado gamer band kitya, kafi nyane, they would get really anxious. Because the games hype them up. And then one day after listening to his lecture 2 or 3 times, after about 2 months delay, my munda said to me himself, I don't want to play games anymore. And I said to him, well, what are you going to do instead? Tusi hor ki karna instead? And he goes, I like playing football. And so we put him in a football team. He now then went to Edinburgh. He played rugby at Edinburgh. He's played football. He plays in academy. He's gone to Manchester City. He's gone to Leeds. He's gone to Leicester. He's played at all of these top clubs. He wouldn't, all the kadi or life experience nahi hona si if he hadn't given up that Xbox. Do Xbox se hunda, he'd still be just playing Xbox. As a result, he's done all these elite things in his life because he gave up that Xbox. Because they're Xbox, they're sucking the life out of your children. And I've always said to my children, it's so much easier now in Nasokayahon to be a top sportsman, to be a top academic, to be top in anything, because so many people are just sitting in front of computers doing nothing. Your level of competition is so much less. Does that make sense? So, this is the thing. And jehde bache phone te lage, I'm rushing through this because we're running out of time. In class, they interrupt the teacher more. Jehde phone te lage rehinde ya, tablet ade. Or teacher nu jyada interrupt karde. They have less patience, less ability to calm themselves down. Or ek duje nu calm down nahi kar sakde. They're more hyper. They quit more easily. This is terrible because jehda young bacha starts giving up. Fir baad ch life ki hona ya. Jadon marriage problem hundi ya, he gets divorced. When he has business problems, he goes bankrupt. When he has life problems, he commits suicide. Because you're giving up so much. You're not learning resilience. You do martial arts, you take your kids away from an Xbox, you put them in a martial arts, they learn to be resilient. You get hit, you realize it hurts. I'm going to hit them back. Or I'm going to learn how to not be hit. You're learning about life. You're not learning anything with your thumbs playing FIFA. And then they do not have the capacity for deep play because the computer is just going to the next level. Most importantly, they do not fall in love with their own creativity. Or apni creativity, they do not fall in love with it. And this is बहुत important here. Because जितना मैं थानू किया ना, जिहड़े बुजुर्ग आ, उन्हां दे कोल physical जॉबां होंदियां सी, mentally relaxed सीगे. साडे कोल हम mental जॉबां आ ते चेहरा ते बिंदे आ. गां हम जिहड़ियां जॉबां artificial intelligence वालियां जॉबां होणियां, and the people that can't do what artificial intelligence cannot do is be creative. So such an important cheat for your children is to develop their creative side. How do you do that? Through kirtan, through music, through art. These kind of things are really important skills going forward. Waheguru? And in COVID, again I'm going through this quickly. If your child is 10 years old, they've lost 20% of their life because of COVID. If your child is 20 years old, उन्हें 10% अपनी life or 5% अपनी life चलेगी because वो घरां दे विच बैठे रहे. And जे थोड़ा कोई behavior change करना है, let's say तुसी अमृत वेले उठना है, you do it for 2 weeks, 2 हफ्ते hard हुंदा है, फिर बाद सौखा हो जाता है, because body adjust हो जाती है. So थोड़ा behavior change हो जाता है. पर साडे बच्चों का जेड़ा behavior 18 months, 18 months, ਉਹਦਾ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਸੇ ਰਹੇ ਆ. So all these children, all the clubs they could have gone, friends they could have made, all the things they could have done, COVID's taken a big chunk out of their life. And as a result, so many children have gone quiet after COVID. And if your bacha has gone quiet, chop ho gaya after COVID, you need to start thinking. Because there's a problem here. Your children shouldn't be too quiet. So you need to get them out of the houses, put them in clubs, bring them to the Gurdwara, put them in the kind of things. Paji here does debate club. I'm sure other people are doing gatka here. Other people are doing loads of classes here. Get your kids mixing with people. Otherwise, they're going to be the lonely child. Waheguru? Right, teenagers. And again, ena socho Jagjit Singh gappa mari janda thalle all of the sources of where this is coming from. So, 7 out of 10 people say Instagram has made them feel worse about their body. And ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ Instagram ਤੇ ਲੱਗੇ ਆ 70% ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਹ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ bad feel ਕਰਦੇ ਆਪਣੀ body image ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ because ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ look like Aishwarya Rai and all the munde look like they've got 6 packs and everything. And then there's your munda who might not be that fit and you start thinking, well, there's something wrong with me. And your kuri starts thinking there's something wrong with me and their confidence starts going down. Waheguru? Snapchat, Facebook, all increase anxiety. But YouTube is different. YouTube has been shown to have a positive effect on children's mental health. Because YouTube, it will teach you new skills. It's different from other social media. So my daughter, she was doing kirtan, and then suddenly she started baking, and no one in our house bakes. And she was making these amazing cakes, and she was creating her own channel. I'm like, where did you learn how to bake all this stuff? And she's like, YouTube. And then, where did you learn all these shabs? YouTube. So the next generation, they learn so much on YouTube. And I say YouTube is very different to the other social media. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, you all know Tanusarian Patay. So Bill Gates put a cap of 45 minutes on how long his daughter could play a video game. He did not let his children have a mobile phone to the age of 14. Source Reuters, German news agency. Steve Jobs did not let his children use an iPad at home, New York Times. ਤਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਰਤਨ ਘੱਟ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਬਰਤਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੈਨਾ ਐਂਡ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਕੂਲ ਆ ਇਹ ਫੇਮਸ ਸਕੂਲ ਆ ਨਾਰਥ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਚ ਆ ਮੇਰਾ ਪੈਰੈਂਟਿੰਗ ਕੋਰਸ ਆ ਆਈ ਡਨ ਇਨ ਸਿਲਿਕਨ ਵੈਲੀ ਆਈ ਡਨ ਇਨ ਸੈਨ ਹੋਜ਼ੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਲੋਕ ਆ from them companies NVIDIA I had one thing from NVIDIA I had loads of things from Apple loads of things from Google and they said all of this is true so this is called the Waldorf schools. They're the most oversubscribed private schools in Silicon Valley. And what makes these schools special is they banned all technology. So the people that create the technology are sending their children, generally technology are sending their children to the places where you have no technology. Okay, it's important to understand this. Half of teenagers in USA and Japan feel addicted to their devices. Studies show that electronic devices affects the frontal cortex of your brain. So ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਦਾ frontal cortex ਆ ਨਾ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਡੋਪਾਮਾਈਨ ਬਣਦੀ ਆ ਐਂਡ ਇਹ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਚਿੱਟਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਖਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਸੋ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਚਿੱਟਾ ਆ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਚਿੱਟਾ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਕੋਕੇਨ ਹੈਨਾ it gives you that stimulation ਹੁਣ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਹੁਣ ਕਈ ਢਾਬੇ ਆ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉੱਥੇ ਉਹ ਚਿੱਟਾ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਪਰੌਠਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਨਾ ਉਹ ਪਰੌਠਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਚਿੱਟਾ ਪਾਉਣਾ ਪਏ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਲੋਕ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਉਸੇ ਢਾਬੇ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਪਰੌਠੇ ਖਾਣ ਹੈਨਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚਿੱਟਾ ਖਾਈ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ And they're trying to get you addicted to their taba. This is how bad this is. And this is what your phones are designed to do. In your phone, there's 3 lights. One light is designed so that you can need it. So if you sochte main adha ghanta ya 5 minute phone te check karna hai and you easy ghanta utte you're scrolling because it's designed not to let you go to sleep. That's why many people now wear red glasses which are designed to actually reduce blue light ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਨੀਂਦ ਆਵੇ ਹੈਨਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ So this is Christian Harris. He works at Google. He was saying all of us are jacked into a system. All our minds are hijacked. Our choices are not as free as we think. A handful of people can decide what a billion people think. ਇਹ decide ਕਰਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਥੇ vote ਕਰੋਗੇ ਇਹ decide ਕਰਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਕੱਪੜੇ ਪਾਉਣੇ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਡੀਆਂ ਖਰੀਦਦੇ because it's what comes at the top of Google. No one goes on page 2 of Google. They just look at what's the top result. Why, Guru? This is Justin Rosenstein. He invented the like button in Facebook. And he said, "Asi ta like button invent kita si ta fir log inne addicted hove." It's a pseudo pleasure. And he basically done it so that bar they'll keep going back to our device. It's purely a sign of addiction. And this is Sean Parker. He's one of the 3 largest owners of Meta and Facebook. And in his interview, he goes, we exploited a vulnerability in human psychology. God only knows what we're doing to our children's brains. He's done it in Forbes magazine. He's saying this. This is what they're doing to your children's brains. Why, Guru? And ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੋਨ ਦੇ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ because ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਫਰੈਂਡਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਸਾਰੇ ਫੋਨ ਆ and what you don't realize is ਸਾਰਾ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦਾ ਗੰਦ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਹੱਥ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਹੱਥ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾਤਾ What most people will never tell you is the amount of pornography on there, the amount of suicide risks on there, the amount of negativity on there, the amount of grooming that's happening on phones. And ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੋਨ ਦੇਤਾ from 12-13 ਸਾਲ because ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਫਰੈਂਡਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਆ And even if you go to France, they're now banning phones in schools. And the UK is going to follow soon. Why? Because they said ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਬੱਚੇ ਸੌਂਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ they're sleep deprived. As a result, their grades are going down because they're not sleeping at night. Why, Guru? And you have to understand, the majority reason mental health is going through the roof is because of technology, is because of mobile phones. The highest level of mental health is in the countries with the fastest internet. South Korea, and then it comes to Europe, etc. ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ circadian rhythm ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸ ਰਿਹਾ ਆ that the first light you see in every morning should always be natural light. ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਵੇਲੇ ਉੱਠੇ ਆ, it should be moonlight. If it's after ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਵੇਲਾ, it should be natural light. Because ਜਦੋਂ natural light ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਅੱਖਾਂ 'ਚ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਆ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ hormones release ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਆ and it wakes you up properly. ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਫੋਨ ਤੇ ਲੱਗੇ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਵੇਰ ਨੂੰ ਉੱਠਦੇ ਆ, ਪਹਿਲੀ ਲਾਈਟ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਫੋਨ ਦੀ ਲਾਈਟ ਆ, it gives you a body shock and your hormones don't get released. ਫਿਰ ਸਾਰਾ ਦਿਨ ਕਾਫੀ ਪੀ ਜਾਓ because your body is not normally functioning. Waheguru? And this is the hormones. All these hormones are in our bodies. And every day ਇਹ release ਹੋਣੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਆ. ਜੇ ਨਹੀਂ release ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ body unhealthy ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ. There's 22 of these. And majority like testosterone, etc. ਇਹ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ 10 ਵਜੇ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 2 ਵਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਨ 'ਚੋਂ ਇਦਾਂ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਬੋਡੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਪਰ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ 10 ਵਜੇ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 2 ਵਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਸੁੱਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ, ਇਹ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣੀ। ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਟੈਲੀ ਦੇਖੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, then you're going to get groggy. And all of these, your body needs these to function. And this is why ਜਿਹੜਾ circadian rhythm ਆ, is ਬਹੁਤ important ਚੀਜ਼ ਆ parents ਨੂੰ study ਕਰਨਾ। We only realized about it 2 years ago. I remember my nephew, people thought this is really extreme. He was saying that Ratanu, everybody should switch the Wi-Fi off at 9 o'clock. Then no one can be on a phone, no one can be on anything. And you'll make your family really healthy. You might think that's extreme, but ultimately, this is some of the things that people are now thinking about doing. Waheguru. So, ਏਦਾਂ ਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ, because I'm rushing through this, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਗਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਦਾ lecture ਸੁਣ ਲਿਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਘਰ ਚਲ ਗਏ like that just rain thing. And ਜਦੋਂ he takes his results to his dad, and his dad ਕਹਿੰਦਾ, that's it, ਹੁਣ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਬੰਦ, ਸੋਣਾ ਬੰਦ, ਖਾਣਾ ਬੰਦ, ਸਾਹ ਲੈਣਾ ਬੰਦ, everything. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਘਰ ਜਾ ਕੇ, ਚਲੋ ਹੁਣ ਟੈਲੀ ਬੰਦ, ਕੰਪਿਊਟਰ ਬੰਦ, ਫੋਨ ਬੰਦ, ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਬੰਦ. This is not how life should be. Everything in Gurmat is about balance. Everything is about balance. Your children, ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਤਾ, I've seen some families that have no TV, ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਬੰਦ there, but then sometimes I think, are they isolated from the world? Are their children going to be able to function in the world? So, apne jehde bachche are, they're going to grow up in a life of artificial intelligence. It's already started. These 2 wars that are happening are in artificial intelligence. There's not people deciding where the bombs are landing, it's computers, algorithms are deciding it. It's already started to change. Waheguru? So, if you take technology away from your children, they're not going to be able to function in this world. This could be your Godra committee meeting of the future. Where they're sitting there, and they basically think they're in the metaverse. And this is the whole thing. We don't know where they're going to take it. But let me tell you one thing. You can build any kind of body. The metaverse is that you can build whatever body you want. You can live in whatever house you want. But and you got to come in the real world. And all these distractions with AI and everything, real world with वापस जीना ही पैना है. Okay? And that's why all this stuff is going to make your dimag kharab. Now this is very important. It's in your booklet. But if you're not sure, this is the most important thing to take a picture of. So, from the beginning of time, aaj tak, this is the way human beings have developed. So, 2000, 3000 saal, 6000 saal pehla to, aaj tak aida insan jeende rahe. When they were young children, they moved karde si, touch karde si, ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ connect ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਤੇ nature ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ. This was their diet as young children. As a result, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਵੱਡੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ, they become strong, they become coordinated, regulated, calm, optimal development, attentive. This is the most sustainable way of living. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ bodies were functioning perfectly. On ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ in world history, ਇਹ flip ਹੋ ਗਿਆ. Because ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ world history ਹੁਣ ਏਦਾਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ. They are not connecting, they are not moving. From a young age, they've got TV, mobile phone, and internet. From a young age. As a result, they're sedentary, they're isolated, they're neglected, they're overstimulated. What's going to happen? Obesity, mental illness, autism, diabetes, stroke, heart attack, addicted, violent, perverted, meditated, impulsive, illiterate, early death, no relationship, no job, unsustainable way of living. So from the beginning of time, the technology hundi nahi sigi, this is where we were, And what technology has done is made us like this. Okay? On tusi faisla karna hai, in your houses with your children, are you going to let them live like this, or are you going to go back to this? This is your choice. है ना? कि तुसी किन्ना बच्चा नु. So let me tell you, कई लोग की करते हैं. Have you any of you heard the shark song? Yeah? It's the most irritating thing ever. है ना? है ना? And what the shark song is, it's the most watched video on YouTube. And it's designed, it's the most sick thing that they've done. What they've done is they've taken young babies, even smaller than these children, and they've seen Gira sound makes them most addictive by creating the most dopamine in their brain. Which colors, which cartoon, and everything, and then made it into a video which is so addictive that bahut sare nyane can't sit in a car without a shark song. They can't eat their food without a shark song. And that's why these parents are so irritated by the shark song. And it's all about how they can get the most hits on YouTube. That's all it's about. And that's what Cocomelon is all about. It's about getting the most hits and making your child should have dopamine hits. Your child is too young. Your child should learn to play with grass, should learn to play with a baja, should learn to play with a ball, not basically get addicted to this video all the time. Why, Guru? Does that make sense? So, we had the world wars, and during world war which gaye sige, ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ they were the golden generation. Because ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਗਏ ਸੀ, ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਗਏ ਸੀ, ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਗਏ ਸੀਗੇ. But they went at the age of 16. Is there anybody here who's age 16? Okay, Benji, stand up. So this Benji is 16. This lad, are you 16? Yeah, stand up. Look at the two of these. They're probably doing GCSEs, aren't you? Yeah? She just started A-levels. Thank you, sit down. So the people that went to war, they went at the age of 16. 16 salan de sige when they went to war. And it's a 4-year tour, and they came back at the age of 20. Or 4 salan de vich, they maybe seen their friends' latta blown off. They maybe seen their friends killed. They've heard all these explosions, all this trauma in them 4 years. They still came back, and they set up businesses, they got married, and they got on with life. ਤਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ golden generation ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ. ਉਹ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਪਿੰਡਾਂ ਦੇ ਵੀ ਸੀਗੇ ਮੁੰਡੇ, ਹਨਾ, ਬਾਹਰਲੇ ਵੀ ਸੀਗੇ. They have lower levels of mental health than you have in children today. So they saw 4 years of war, and they had less mental health. This is what's happening with children today. And if you look at our qawm, we are the spirit-born nation. ਸਾਡੀ ਕੌਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੰਨਾ trauma ਦੇਖਿਆ. ਹਨਾ, ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਬੀਬੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਬੰਦ ਕਟਾਏ ਸੀਗੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ. All these things, look at this, because ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨ ਸੀਗਾ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੁਗਲ ਸੀਗਾ, they actually sat there and designed how to kill Sikhs. So someone sat there and thought, we're going to cover this one in cotton. By Satidas, by Matidas, by Diyala. We're going to saw this one in half. We're going to boil this one in a cauldron. We're going to create this wheel where you can cut them, slices. We're going to make hearts of them. Someone was actually sitting there designing this. Look how sick this is. Why? Because they thought, let's kill them in the most horrific way possible, and baad ch log dar joge koi Sikh na bane. That was their agenda. Hoya kiya, we put it in our ardas. We made it part of who we are. The more they killed us, the more we became, the stronger we became. This is why we're the spirit-born nation. These people didn't complain about mental health issues. Bhai Taru Singh, his father was shaheed when he was 5 years old. By 21, he was shaheed, and he was a Mahapurush Jivan. He didn't complain about mental health issues. Why? Because their diet was Naam, Kirtan, Bhakti, Seva, and sacrifice. This is the spirit-born nation. And now you've got young kids. Oh man, I can't get out of bed, I'm depressed. Because what is your diet? Your diet has always been computer games, Xboxes, never going out, never getting sunlight, never doing the support, and then you're stuck in bedrooms. So, and it starts from pregnancy. Remember I said to you, Marda Gambra, that 20 saal pehla bhakti karo. Now what we're having is, if your mother's on TikTok, the baby will tappi janda hai. And then you wonder, if you don't handle that 9 months of pregnancy, your child can have attention deficit disorder, and it might take you 7 or 8 years, or bachche nu set karan li. But je tusi oh pehla 9 mahine simran de vich lao, but a bacha is fine, growing up healthy, because whatever your damag is doing is the diet of the bacha that's growing inside of you. Does that make sense? Waheguru? And then growing up online. This is the biggest mistake young people are doing. Bachchiyan nu phone de dinde ha, then bachche are growing up online. It's terrible. Because when a bacha is 12 to when a bacha is 15, their opinions are different. By the time they're 19, they're very different. By the time they're 25, they're very different. By the time they're 30, they're very different. Maybe at the age of 25, another resta ka nalaya. All the people in your share think of that bacha as what they were at 15. Because that's what they've seen online. And all of these YouTubers, Just Rain, Lily, and all of these, I don't know the others, that black guy from Milton Keynes, that got Prime and all this other stuff, and all these KSI and all of these, they have the highest levels of mental health issues. Because every 10 days, they have to get a video out to beat the algorithm. And that's why Just Rain disappeared. Because he had mental health issues. All of them. So you think these people, Sadhu influence karuge, they're really cool people. There's nothing cool about them. They have to get a job of entertaining the world, and it's killing them. Why, Guru? So teach your children to be anonymous. And if you don't think this is bad, if you've got a daughter, do an experiment. Go on Instagram, set up an account, nama account set up kar lo, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਪੋਸਟ ਨਾ ਕਰੋ ਸਿਰਫ ਇੱਕ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਕਿਸ ਕੁੜੀ ਦੀ ਫੋਟੋ ਲਾ ਲਓ ਐਂਡ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਪੋਸਟ ਨਾ ਕਰੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ 2 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਬਾਅਦ check that Instagram account, you'll have 400 or 500 men want to be your friend and you've not even posted anything. So ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਮੇਰੀ ਕੁੜੀ I'm giving her a phone, ਉਹਦੇ ਫਰੈਂਡਾਂ ਹੀ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ. What she's become is entertainment for dirty old men. Because many of the men have got accounts where they think they're Kuriya, and the Kuriya think they're Kuriya. And what your daughter is becoming, lust for these old dirty old men. Why, Guru? So don't let your children grow up online. Actually teach your children, be anonymous. Many Siani people now, because they've seen Ginna Clara Peaya, many Siani people now, they say to children, like I said to my son, none of you getting a phone till 16. And they're happy. They're not complaining about it. Even now, when one of them's got his phone, he hardly ever uses it. Because he only uses it for what he needs to. And they're healthy, and they're doing well in school, they're doing well in sports. And Jerry Bossari Lokia, Jionani can't be Rakebia, they never put their pictures on it now. Never put your children's faces on there. You can post things without just putting your faces on there. Be anonymous, keep small. Allow yourself to grow normally, that's what Siani can do. Because you will go through your growing pains between 13 to probably 19. And bachane saw mistake ka kani aaya. And let them grow up in private. If you let your children grow up in public, you're advertising all the mistakes to the world. And recently there was a kuri that my daughter showed, I think she's from America, she's crying because her grandfather died, so she went and became an influencer, and all she's getting is Bande sending her dirty messages. And she's actually trying to be a comedian. And it's a very toxic world, so why are you putting your children in there? And this is what happens. 80%, 7% of all grooming happens over mobile phones. And your bacha's got the gun in her hand, and other people are telling her to send them pictures while she's nangi. And your bacha's doing it. She only has to do it once, and she's in a trap. And they're going to blackmail her, and they're going to use her. And as soon as that happens to your bachi, her confidence is shattered. Her life is disrupted. And this is the police have actually put this out. 15 apps your children should never have. Because again, this inna clara paya from all these apps, you should never have these on your children's phones. And you look at that, they include TikTok, they include WhatsApp, and they include all of these kind of things. Snapchat is the worst app your child can ever have. Because you can never see what they're doing. And people are growing up online. So ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ no, we're just doing it for our friends. But ਤੁਹਾਡੇ friends ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਮਖੌਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, and but all of that is being used against you. There's nothing cool about this world. And you got to explain this to your bache. There's nothing cool about being online. There's nothing cool about advertising your life online. It's actually very destructive. Did you know, Waheguru, that every year 67 people die from doing selfies. Did anyone know that? 67 people die from doing selfies because they go on holiday, they're standing at the edge of the cliff to get that perfect picture to put on Instagram, and they fall off the cliff. Or they stand next to the train when the train's coming, not realizing the train's going to suck them in. And they kill themselves just for a photo on Instagram. 1 minute. Okay. And there's an actual thing called the Instagram divorce effect. I don't know if you know this either. Waheguru? So 90% of divorces are done by females. Bibiyan kardiyan, bandiyan nu divorce karde ha. So these bibiyan are going online, apni friend ਨਾਲ ਦੇਖਦੀਆਂ, ਮੇਰਾ ਘਰ ਵਾਲਾ ਤਾਂ ਨਿਕੰਮਾ ਆ, ਇਹਦਾ ਘਰ ਵਾਲਾ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਹੌਲੀਡੇ ਤੇ ਲੈ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਆ, ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਸੂਟਾਂ ਖਰੀਦੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਉਹਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਨਵੀਂ ਗੱਡੀ ਖਰੀਦੀ ਆ, ਉਹਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਆਹ ਖਰੀਦੀ ਆ, ਉਹਨੇ ਉਹ ਤੋਰਾ ਫੋਟੋ ਲਾਉਣੀ ਹੈ ਜਦੋਂ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਮੂੰਹ ਤਾਂ ਧੋਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੇ ਗਿੱਦ ਲੱਗੀ ਆ, ਉਹ ਫੋਟੋ ਤੋਰਾ ਲਾਉਣੀ ਆ. They're always going to put the photo when the best things happening in their lives. And so people are thinking, oh, my friends have all got these wonderful lives and mera life is like this. So ਇਹਨੂੰ divorce ਕਰ ਲਓ ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਆਹ ਕਰ ਲਵਾਂ. And then they realize afterwards, ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਇਹੀ ਹਾਲ ਆ. I know there's a cost of living crisis everywhere. Waheguru? The bigger the fantasy you live, the bigger the crash when you hit reality. Stop breathing Instagram life, accept real life. And Instagram is fake. A lot of it is fake. Even what all the celebrities do is fake. Now, this is really important as a parent. Again, take pictures if you need to. Okay? This is the key question you should be asking your teachers at parents' evening. The question jehda thanu teacher nu puchna chahiਦਾ ਆ is, what are you doing to make my child emotionally intelligent? This is ਸਭ ਤੋਂ important ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੈ life to it. So let me explain this to you. Waheguru? So ਜਿਹੜਾ Boris Johnson ਆ, he went to Eton. But ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੈ, he's a ਬੇਵਕੂਫ. ਹੈ ਨਾ? So it doesn't show, just because ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੁੱਕਾਂ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ, it doesn't mean that you're effective. ਹੈ ਨਾ? But then you have son Janelle Singh Pindraware, ਹੈ ਨਾ? Who basically, I think he only studied till 12. But he shaped the whole world. ਉਹਨੇ ਕੌਮ ਹਿਲਾਤੀ ਸੀਗੀ. Why? Because he's emotionally intelligent. The key thing is not just to read books. ਕੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੁੱਕਾਂ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲਾਈਫ ਨੂੰ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ. Does that make sense? How are you going to take that knowledge and implement it in your life and make it to improve your life? That is the key skill. That's called emotional intelligence. Waheguru? And ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਟ ਜਾਂ ਫੋਨਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਰਤਦੇ ਆ, they have the same behaviors of people of low emotional intelligence. Because ਤੁਹਾਡੀ emotional intelligence ਬਣਦੀ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਆ? By talking to people, by interacting with people, by learning from people, not by being on a phone. So aggressive, demanding, bossy, selfish, slow, stubborn, critical, picky. All of these people have low emotional intelligence. High emotional intelligence, assertive, driven, strong-willed, warm, enthusiastic, sociable, persuasive, patient, stable, consistent, detailed, meticulous, systematic, neat. Where do you learn these skills? I'll tell you where you learn these skills. Martial arts. You learn these skills in tabla, kirtan, doing santya. You learn these skills by basically doing things like that because they bring these skills into your lives. So ਇਹ ਨਾ ਸੋਚੋ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੰਥਿਆ ਕਲਾਸ ਤੇ ਜਾਂ ਤਬਲਾ ਕਲਾਸ ਕਾਫੀ ਤੇ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਕਰੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ. You're teaching your kid to adapt to life because it's all about transferable skills. It's all about being creative. Waheguru? This is how emotional intelligence happens. Waheguru? So coming to the conclusions. Number one, what we did with our family was we linked Bhagdi time, playtime. Xbox killed any, but when they were, we were saying to them, if you do 4 hours at the Gurdwara, we give you half an hour on the Xbox. Holly, they enjoy the Gurdwara so much, they don't care about the Xbox now, because they've got their friends and they've got everything. Second thing is teach your children about SoundCloud. SoundCloud is excellent. When ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ, I needed complete silence. This next generation is different. They will do their studies and listen to Kirtan all the time and get straight A's. So get them used to go on SoundCloud and create an account with all their favorite Kirtanis and get them used to do Kirtan. Ratanu, before your children go to sleep, put Kirtan on. And during the day, have Sahaj Path to keep it going on in the house or have the Simran going on in your house. And your children are subliminal learners. So when you go to university, if you want to memorize the lecture, sometimes what they say to you is, Raat nu suno, and jado sutte pe hain, swenu sanu sara kanth hunda, you learn it all. So if you can do that with a lecture, you can do that with Kirtan. Jehde bacche raat nu Kirtan sonde rehinde asleep, you will learn so much Bani. And when you go to a Ranswai, it will come naturally to you. You will just know all the words automatically. Why, Guru? So do not remove your technology from your children. Encourage them to be sensible decision makers. This is the key thing about this section. ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਿਖਾਓ ਕਿ ਟੈਕਨੋਲੋਜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, ਪਰ ਟੈਕਨੋਲੋਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਰੇ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਟੈਕਨੋਲੋਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਰਨਾ. You're in charge. Does that make sense? The problem is most people, the technology is controlling them. The addiction is controlling them. And the best thing is, your children are too immature, emotionally immature, I would say to you, up until the age of 16, to even go near a mobile phone. But if you want them, Nokia and other companies are creating phones that have no smart features. And it bahut badi ginti chon bikna pe. So all phone vich tusi telephone kar sakde hain, and it's got maps and they can see where you are, but there's no social media on there. So buy them phones for your children. Because all this clara, you're taking it out of your children's lives. And you're living in a concrete jungle, sorry to put Leicester down, but if you're living in a concrete jungle and you go out to greenery for a weekend, your brain works 15% more efficiently on a Monday morning. So, ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਆ, it's like when you go to Punjab, ਸਾਰੇ ਖੁਸ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਖੇਤਾਂ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ, ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ, is because you as ਅਸੀਂ ਜੋ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਆ, ਸਾਡਾ designed to be in ਹਰਿਆਵਲੀ. We're not designed to be in concrete. So do this with your children, take them out there. And ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਹੱਥੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੱਥੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਸ਼ਹੀਦੀਆਂ ਪਾਈਆਂ. Because their bodies were tough, their minds were tough. ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਸੇਵਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੱਥੀ, ਤੇ mentally computer ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਬਾਅਦ ਚ monthly. Because they're too soft. And so remember what I said, 5 minutes Simran, 5 times a day, practically brings Sikhi into your lives. If you don't do practically, then everything's just galla. It's just like, yeah, we believe in this thing called Sikhi, but no one really follows it. No, Sikhi has to be practical. Do Simran with your children, do Nitrim with your children, etc. And so now get your phones out. These are 4 apps that Share Charity run, and they're free apps for you. Take a picture, you can download these afterwards. First one is Sikhi to the Max, famous app. You can do Sahaj Path on there. It's got a Sahaj Path thing on there now. So you can do it, and it's got on it sound bhi aa gaya. Fir jidda tusi path karde, you can test if your path is shook. Then you've got Learn Gurmukhi. So this is where you can learn Punjabi in 2 weeks. This is excellent for doing with your children. And a quick tip, why Guru? Why? Main 11 saal Punjabi school gaya. I got a GCSE grade B, and I still don't know how to read Punjabi. That was when I was a Monna. Because I menu pata nahi si ki kaate Punjabi sikhni hai. After I came into Sikhi, I learned Punjabi in 2 weeks. Because I realized I need Punjabi to access my Guru. So don't just send your kids to Punjabi school. Explain to your children why Punjabi is important. No one kisi ne mainu samjhaya nahi si ki Punjabi kaate sikhi diya. And this is why it's important to speak about Sachkhand. Why, Guru? You have an ability to reach Sachkhand while you're alive. And this is very important. Why, Guru? Please concentrate on this. Jinne tusi ite baithe ha na, tusi sare aapa ja Hindu si ja Musliman in our ancestries. We're all Hindus or Muslimans. Fir kisi ne faisla kita ki unhe Sachkhand pahunchna. Someone in Ansri done a faisla, I want to reach Sachkhand. Shayad wo Guru Nanak Dev Ji de vele de sige. Shayad wo Guru Gobind Singh Ji de vele sige. Shayad wo Mir Manu de vele de sige, which means taking Amrit means maut. But they were more interested in going to Sachkhand than worrying about death. That was a very big faisla in your lineage, family lineage. Because je ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ faisla nahi kita of going to Sachkhand, you will be sitting in a Gurdwara today. You'll be sitting in a mandir or a masjid. Because ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਫੈਸਲਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ. And that's such a big fansla that ਅਸੀਂ ਸੱਚਖੰਡ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ with our children. You should be saying to your children, you are designed to go to Sachkhand. This is what you are there for. And then your bachcha is going to say, Mom, Sachkhand kita pahunchi daya. And you're saying, what? The way you go to Sachkhand is by doing Simran. Mom, where do I learn more about Simran? What? You learn it from the Guru Granth Sahib. This is why we do part, Matha Tek to the Guru Granth Sahib. This is why we do part of the Guru Granth Sahib. What? You should learn to read the Guru Granth Sahib. Mom, how do I learn to read the Guru Granth Sahib? What? This is why I send you to Punjabi school. So that you are not just to learn Punjabi, you are there so you can learn how to do part of the Guru Granth Sahib, and then you can go to Sachkhand. And you're linking it up for your children, and your children are so intelligent, then they will realize that. That is a process. So a quick tip for you guys. Why Guru? If you say to your children, they just apne bachchiyan nu keh do कि ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਦੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਕੂਲ ਆਉਣ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਹਿਜ ਪਾਠ ਕਰ ਲਓ ਹੈ ਨਾ I guarantee you most of your children within a ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਨੇ ਸਹਿਜ ਪਾਠ ਕਰ ਲੈਣਾ and through that they're going to automatically learn Punjabi but they will do that just to get a weekend free ਹੈ ਨਾ and this is the thing show your children ਕਿ ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ you can learn Punjabi in 2 weeks this is Super Sun this is another good app if you've got your children at bed at night. It's a competition on Sikh history, and it's on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire style. And this one's called Simran Reminder. ਇਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਲਈ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫੋਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਸੋ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਆ ਜਾਣਾ ਕਿ you spending too much time on your phone, don't do Simran. Average banda will check their phone 69 times a day. And so it's telling you, and it's got Simran tracks, who to do Simran with. Why, Guru? So coming to the end, you guys have been very patient. We had a long day. Why, Guru? मैं एक बार ऑस्ट्रेलिया गया सी सिडनी and उन्होंने मैंने कहा सीगा कि जगजीत सिंह तेरा लेक्चर सिख चैनल was there जगजीत सिंह तेरा लेक्चर लाइव चलाना सारे यूरोप में चलाना तू तो साडा प्रेजेंटर या पर सारे नु कह दियो कि सारे डायरेक्ट डेबिट भर दो है ना and I was saying आ लेक्चर ना करियो बाकी कर दियो but don't do this one and I say नहीं नहीं तेरा लेक्चर करना है तेरा लेक्चर करना है why, Guru? समय क्या चलो ठीक है समय क्या साथ संगत जी ਪੰਥਕ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਨੂੰ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰੋ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਥਕ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਆ ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੱਸ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੱਚਖੰਡ ਪਹੁੰਚਣਾ ਆ ਤੇ ਟੈਲੀ ਬੰਦ ਫੋਨ ਬੰਦ ਅੱਖਾਂ ਬੰਦ that is the reality if you want to get anywhere in your Sikhi ਟੈਲੀ ਬੰਦ ਫੋਨ ਬੰਦ ਅੱਖਾਂ ਬੰਦ look inside of you and see who you are ਬੰਦੇ ਖੋਜ ਦਿਲ ਹਰ ਰੋਜ਼ ਫਿਰ ਪਛਤਾਨੀ ਮਾਇਆ look inside of you and see who you are. What is the path you set for your children? Ana sab to vadda Satguru Nanak jin kar rakhi meri. Teach your children. You guys have got Guru Nanak in your lives. Is sab to vadda ya. Is to koi vadda nahi hega. And forget all this worldly education. Sab to important education is jo Guru Nanak Dev Ji sanu dasi hai. Ana? And this is how world actually sucks up your life. If you want to be successful in life, there's a thing called a 80 rule, 80-hour rule. So koi bhi cheez tusi karna chahne ya, if you do it for 80 hours, you become a master at it. Because 80 to 100 घंटे the baad aam banda karda nahi hai. So you want to learn how to bake a cake, you do it for 80 hours, you be master baker. You want to learn French, you do it for 80 hours, you be fluent in French. You want to learn Kirtan, you do it for 80 hours, you do beautiful Kirtan, you do beautiful tabla. You want to lose weight and you do 85 Ks, you'd be really good at doing 5 Ks. You see how the 80-hour rule? And ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ 80 ਘੰਟੇ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ Netflix ਦਾ box set ਦੇਖਣਾ ਪਏ ਅੱਗੇ ਇੱਕ Bollywood film would be 2.5 hours a Hollywood film would be 1.5 hours and that's all the time they would take. Now a box set takes 80 hours out of your life and then you watch one box set then you go and watch another box set. Then you watch another box set, and it's sucking your life out. So all these skills, jehdi thodi life vich aa sakde sige. You could have been a Kirtani. So if you see anyone who's a doctor, their bachche become doctors. Anyone that's a Kirtani, their bachche become Kirtanis. Anyone that basically is a property developer, their bachche become property developers. Because they see it in the house. Why, Guru? So in the same way, 2 minutes, we're nearly finished. Okay. Right, the last slide screen.
Take pause. You can have it as long as you like.
We finished now. I told you, your city loves elections. Anna? Okay, so here, the most important thing for your children is teach them about Sachkhand, because this is the last slide. So, Brandy, that basically, ਅਸੀਂ ਇਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਬਣਾਉਣੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇੰਨੀ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਵਾਲੇ ਹੋਵੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਹੱਥਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਣ. Thank you for completing the Sikh parenting course. Bye. You guys have been very patient. Did you learn something new today? Has this been helpful and it gives you some ideas going forward? If you liked what you've done today, remember you are 1% of Leicester. There's probably more people going to come here and make membership today. Anna? So tell people about the course. When we do it again in Leicester, maybe we'll have 5-10 times as much. Go and do a testimonial. My daughter's there. If you liked what you've done today, tell people about it. Okay? And these are, if you want to contact me, this is my contact details, but I don't respond to messages. Anna? So you'll only find out where the next programs are. If you got arrested out in London, in 2 weeks' time, we're going to be in East London. Anna, Autumn Academy. Okay, so you can take a picture of that. Yeah. And these are the organizations that support the World Sikh, Sikh parenting course. Thank you for your time. Pulchik maaf karna. Waheguru ji ka khalsa. Waheguru ji ki fateh.